Welcome back, guys. How's it going? As you can see, I hadn't started recording. I thought it was recording. I just checked it on this screen and saw it wasn't. So I don't quite have, well, I don't have any qualifying, and I don't quite have the full intro there either. So, but yeah, that little black and white clip was lap 1, getting wrecked at the chicane. But check out this start we're about to have. So we qualified 8th, which is okay. Basically, I don't really like Monza. I just haven't spent much time on it, so I don't know which curbs you can cut and which ones you can't. And so I sort of was feeling in two minds about this race. I was quite looking forward to it because I like the car. I like the Redbull Junior. But yeah, I was a bit unsure of the tracks. But anyway, we'll hop into the race. I'm going to show pretty much the whole race this time. I think I lose a little bit of stint too. But look at this. We make up about... Well, in the end, it was only about sort of a couple of places, briefly up to 6th. I think we could have carried on, maybe got to be inside of P4, but I just wasn't quite sure he knew I was there. So I backed out of it in the end, and then I was a bit sort of over keen in first gear because I was a bit tighter, so not quite as good as it could have been. We nearly ended up in 4th there from 8th, and as it ended up, we're back in 8th because I like I say, I got a bit of wheel spin in first gear, so I compromised myself. But look through here, so I've had to go very slow through here just to defend the corner from all the cars coming from behind. And just get absolutely monstered out of the corner. So where are we now? Back to 18th with a penalty to boot. What can we do? Well, this guy kind of loses it into me. I didn't want to make the contact. I don't think there's much I could do there. So alright, let's try and regroup. 16th now. This guy's lost it, so make that 15th. We do have a penalty, but looking like pretty much every car on the track has a penalty at this point. So anyway, we're 13th now, but there's a guy looking up the inside. No chance, mate. And of course a train of cars up here, so we've had to back out of it. So alright, let's try and regroup this time. So last time we tried to regroup, still good, and everything's still going off. End of lap 1 pretty much. What can we do? So we throw it into Parabolica at the end of the first lap. Loads of traffic in front, and like I say, everyone's got a penalty, so not going to worry about serving it for now. So here we're just looking for braking points. I can tell you now, I'm not going to be getting anywhere near close to my braking point because you never know what people are going to be doing. So early lift, cover the brake. No need to be taking huge risks. And see, so I sort of turned into that guy there. He was ghosted for a bit, and then as I started to turn in, just pretty much as I turned the wheel, he became unghosted, and I sort of already committed to it. So I mean, that was a bit clumsy, but it's more just the penalty system there. Really, there's a car ghosted on the apex of that corner, so he's slow as well because he's serving the penalty. Remember, that's why he's ghosted. So I'm not going to not turn in there. So it's just a shame. It's just bad timing, I think, unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, this is what happens. So as soon as you get punted off early in the race and you drop positions, I mean, I'll take it. I don't know what that was. Was it a brake check? And I just went through him. That can't be his normal speed for the corner. But anyway, this is what I was just trying to say. As soon as you drop down the pack, it becomes so scrappy because obviously you've got the speed on these guys. Usually, if that's the case, so say you qualify ahead of them and then you get hit off into a corner and you drop, say, 10 places, you're usually going to have the pace on those guys, and then it just gets so messy. You're trying to tiptoe your way around everybody, and then you've got people behind you who aren't aware that you're trying to tiptoe, and they just go full pelt, and it just becomes a penalty fest. A bit messy, but I mean, you've just got to crack on, especially in a long race like this. Try and stay focused, but I mean, that's pretty much one of the main skills of racing and driving quickly is the ability to remain cool under intense high pressure situations. So yeah, just try and stay cool. Don't get too flustered. Just remember what you're trying to do. Remember your lines. Remember your braking points, and just crack on with the race. See what you can do. So we've got some good speed here. We're catching this guy. And this was a while ago. Sorry, I should have said this ages ago. This is round 3 of the manufacturers. I don't have round 4. I couldn't quite do the race. I live with a few people, so I have to fit my racing in around when I've got, well, if I can, when I've got a spare house, but that's quite rare. So usually what I do is I'll try and fit it in at a time when I could be least interrupted, you know. But yeah, when I've got people coming home and stuff mid-race, I just can't race, I can't concentrate. So I couldn't do the 4th round of the manufacturers, but I did manage, the nations. I had to pick one of the other, because I'd already done, I wanted to do the whole season of the manufacturers basically. I'd already had a pretty poor score in one of the nations, I can't remember which one it was now. Oh, it was the BMW M6 at Kyoto, wasn't it? So yeah, I'd already sort of fluffed up my Nations Championship, so I wanted to focus on the manufacturers. This race wasn't as bad as I remember, so the reason I've not uploaded this for ages was because I remember just being really frustrated with the result, and then I just haven't really come back to watch it. But I came back to watch it today, and it's actually not so bad. That's another reason why I'm just going to show you the whole race. So I don't think I drove too badly. I made the mistake. Well, I had a good start, and then I slightly messed up getting out of that first chicane, didn't I? The really slow one at the first start of the lap, turn 1 and turn 2. So I had a really good start down the outside, so I knew everyone was going to be defensive on the inside. So I already made the move, committed to the outside, could have maybe got around that car into P4. But anyway, as I was trying to drive out of there, I had a little bit of a wheel spin, so that was a mistake. And then you could argue because of that, I was then defensive into the next chicane. Well, saying that, I was only defensive because there was a car in front of me, so I couldn't go anywhere. So I was just covering the inside to make sure that no one threw it up the inside of me there, whilst I was having to go slow because there was a car in front of me, and I could just picture someone going up the inside and hitting me off. As it happened, damned if you do and damned if you don't. So I covered that one, and then I ended up getting hit off through the second part. So I mean, it is what it is. What can you do? Sometimes that's the way it goes. You can overthink these things, and you know, maybe if I hadn't tried to cover the dive bomb for the first part, I'd have been alright for the second part, but I mean, I'm not convinced. I think I was probably going to get hit off either way there, but anyway, lap 4, we're catching this guy in, we're reeling this guy in, we're catching this guy. But like I say, I'm not that confident at Monza, so, I mean, I think you're seeing it now. So this guy's down the outside, he's probably going to have enough of a run. Could fight it and try and go on the inside through Ascari, but I mean, it's not really sensible. He's well past here. I think the better decision is to tuck in. He's got a penalty anyway, bear in mind, and let him try and attack this guy. And if there's any contact, they'll both get penalties, and I can just breeze past. So that's the sort of mentality you need to have now with the penalty system in this game. Certainly in the sport mode races is. It's much better for someone, in this situation, it's better for these two to be scrapping. Look what happens in the end. But I still need to get past this guy, so it hasn't quite worked out, but I mean, it's another car that I don't have to worry about, 9th now. So we're almost back to where we started. Tyres are fine, fuels are fine. Fuels? Jesus, I can't talk today. Tyres and fuel are both fine. Again, look. Very cautious into the first corner, but there's, you know, it's very easy to run into the back of someone there if they brake a bit early and you brake pretty much on your limit. So, yeah, and you never know when the car in front is going to brake early. So if you brake every time on your absolute limit, and then one time that car brakes early because they'll come out of the pits or there's a car in front of them or something, you know, you're just going to hit them. And as you'll see from this game. Oh, we took too much curve there, but I'm still trying to learn where you can get away with and where you can't on Monza. But yeah, in this car, you certainly want to be staying away from the orange curves if you can. So he had a really slow first Lesmo. I was keen to get up the inside, and as a result, I just took a bit too much speed into the second Lesmo, and then lost 2 positions. Right, so I thought there was a move going on there, but just backed out of it. It looked like full conspiracy. I thought was going to have a look at the guy, but I think he just changed his mind and backed out of it. And then as a result, compromised himself through Parabolica. So down the straight, we're in the toe. Getting towards the end of the first stint, I would like to get past this guy if I can before we both come into the pits. Or undercut or overcut him in some way, so I might pit at the end of this lap if I think there's an advantage to be had, you know what I mean? If I feel like I'm getting held up, or if I can get past him, that would be ideal, and then pit on the end of 7th, because the tyres aren't a problem, so it just depends now. If I'm getting held up, I should pit at the end of this lap, really. So we'll see how it goes. Got a good toe here though. He's defended, so that's alright. We're going to go to the outside. Shouldn't come back in front of us now. I'm not going to run it around the outside, but I'm going to try and go for the cutback. A little bit too keen. And look at the size of the penalty we get for that. Big 10-second one. Barely contact. But I have to serve that because it's going to tick up if I don't. Tricky to get going again from that position, so I'm going to just hug the inside and hope that they see me, but it was a bit poor of me there. But I mean, it's difficult there because they want to be turning in from the outside, so I'm not sure how I could have got out of the way really. And also, you need to consider that the game might ghost me as well because it knows I was going to serve them a penalty. So anyway, so that blew any plans of an undercut, didn't it? So 13th, although I should still pit if I'm getting held up. But you've got to think I can get past these guys fairly quickly, so it shouldn't be too much of a concern. I think I thought about it, but we'll stay out. Good slipstream now, really getting towed down the straight. I could have stayed in a bit longer, but like I say, I'm not sure what these guys, where they're going to brake, and I wanted to show him early what my intent was, so that's why I pulled out the slipstream early there, just to let him know that I'm looking at the inside. I would obviously rather stay in tow and pop out later, but I just don't want. I don't know what he's going to do. And I don't like. And sometimes when you do that and you come out, they'll instantly try and shut the door, and you could just. When I'm, if I leave it too late and I need to be braking, I can't be braking. And somebody's trying to change my line, so not worth the risk. You need to be confident in the people you're racing to do firmer moves. You need to have the confidence that they're going to know that you're there first of all, they're going to know what you're doing second of all, and then third they're going to leave you a bit of space to do it. Sometimes it can be hard to get all those boxes ticked when you're racing a bit further down the grid, so you just got to bear it in mind. Yeah, I felt pretty slow in this race, just on this track, but it's just practice. I just need to do more laps in Monza, and more laps in Monza in this car. And for some reason, I thought this race was at Maggiore for ages. I thought it was the Red Bull at Maggiore, so I was like really excited about it. And when I came to do it, I was like, oh, it's at Monza. So there we go then, end of the first stint. I lingered there because I was thinking about, well, I don't really need tyres. I could save a bit of time and not take the tyres, but I figured, well, I'm like 13th, 14th. The amount of time I'm going to save by not taking tyres, I'm probably going to lose if someone taps me and I get given a penalty. And I've got a penalty anyway, so that factored into it. So I was like, nah, just take the tyres. It's only a few seconds. It's only going to be 2 or 3 seconds. So it can make the difference in a tight race if you can get the track position, but in this situation, that's never really an option. Always take the tyres, and especially unless you're at the top level, bear in mind that. So you want to save a few seconds and don't change tyres. But are you fully confident that you're not going to lose those couple of seconds that you saved somewhere, in the next stint? You need to be confident that you're not. and if you're not confident that you're not, double negative. So if you suspect that you may lose that time somewhere in the next 8 laps, then it's not worth the risk and just take the tyres. So we're penalty free now though, which is good, and remember, pretty much every car on the track is going to have a penalty, and if they don't have one now, they're probably going to get one in the next lap or so. It's just the way it is with the curbs and stuff. It's weird, when there's some curves you can take and some you can't, it's a bit weird. But then it kind of makes sense with how the track flows, so once you get a feel for the track and where to carry the speed and stuff, it kind of makes sense which curves you can get away with taking a little bit and which ones you can't. That might be a penalty right there. But again, I'm not sure. Is it? So it's not. That wasn't a penalty. Okay, so you can take a lot of the inside of the Ascari. How much? I still don't really know. It's not worth finding out in the race. This is what I mean. So to find the speed, you need to know where you can abuse the track limits and stuff. Tricky corner parabolica. A lot of people think it is a long corner, but the key to the corner is early on in the corner, so you need to brake sharply at the end of the straight, turn in sharply, and that's the corner right there. The apex is very early on, and you need to be slow enough to hit it, and then you can be on the throttle and drive all the way around. The whole corner is basically accelerating off the first turn in. That's that corner. But a lot of people sort of don't realise that. They think you can just sort of turn it in and gradually corner it, and obviously you can, but the key to it is understanding the intricacies of the corner. That's my take on parabolica anyway. Obviously I'm not the best driver, so maybe I'm looking at it all wrong, but for me it's a sharp turning, kill the speed early in the corner, and the whole rest of the corner is just trying to balance the car as you drive out. I've interviewed a guy who used to, it's not like a racing driver, it's just like an amateur racing driver, but he's got a Radical that he's raced in a few championships and stuff. This was for a magazine back around university time, so a few years ago now for me. We interviewed iSport as well, iSport International, the GP2 team. Some of their drivers and former drivers like Timo Glock, I think Vettel, Buemi. Look them up. So they won the GP2 championship a few years in a row, and back when we interviewed them, this would have been around 2012. I think they just won the previous season, so we got to go on their simulator and everything. But anyway, also for that magazine, we interviewed someone who used to race Radicals, and he had a big offer at Parabolica here, so he kind of turned it in, and this is back when we were gravel as well, so there's none of this runoff there, it was all gravel. He turned it in, sort of got on the throttle. You kind of sensed that he hadn't quite got it, but he just, the Radical being quite an aerodynamic car as well, there's always that sense that, well, if you can sort of drive through it, you can get the grip. So he just put his foot down, sort of started to wash a bit wide. He was like, nah, I've got this. Just kept his foot in it, and then he didn't have it. Washed out into the gravel, lost the car. Took a lot of work to get that car back, because you get so much gravel in all the intakes and stuff. It's not, even if you just go in the gravel and nothing happens. Nah, lots happens. It just doesn't look like it on camera. So yeah, tricky corner. Obviously it's easier now with the runoff. You don't have the gravel, so you can go a little bit wide and still recover. Whereas he was talking about back in the day, where you can drop a wheel off the track. It's grass and then it's gravel pretty quickly. So anyway, another penalty, and yeah, loads of curves. So I was catching that pack as well, so I was just a little bit too eager, just trying to overdrive the car a little bit. So I'm going to cut towards the end of the race now, so we're just coming on to lap 12 of 13, so getting on to very well towards the end of the second stint. You saw that mistake I had, so I was catching the pack and I was just a bit too eager. Like I say, still trying to figure out the curves and stuff, and especially in this car, it's a bit different as well, so you can't take as much. Oh, look at that. Oh, but that was a penalty. See, I thought I'd nailed that for a second, but no, slight penalty, but the line is very close there, so that was very close to nailing it, but just got the penalty. So you need to learn where that line is exactly, and as you can tell from this race, I still don't quite know. But still catching this pack. I think they're squabbling and we're not, obviously, so we'll do up the advantage. If I can just not make any more mistakes, that would be lovely. Was that a penalty? No, okay, so you can take that much. You see what I mean? It's a bit. That's why I don't like Monza so much on this game, because it just seems to be the key is just learning which corners you can cut and which you can't. But C'est la vie. Alright, so definitely catching this pack, and we lost a bit out the second Lesmo. But like I say, they're going to be all compromising each other, certainly through Ascari, and probably through Parabolica as well. And then you've got first corner as well, we're going to be sort of tiptoeing around each other. So I'm probably looking okay here. Do have that penalty, but it's not as big as it could be. Maybe theirs are bigger, so not the end of the world. It's still not a great race, remember, so I qualified in 8th, and I had quite a lot of pace. That wasn't a good qualifying lap, so this race was just, you know, what could have been really. I think I could have had a good race. Nearly, like you see at the start of the video, I nearly get into P4, certainly an easy P5, if I don't mess it up in getting that wheel spin, messing up the drive coming off the corner. But even with that mistake, I was 8th, looking pretty good, had the pace on the pack, and then just got hit off, didn't I? That was the race really, so a bit disappointing, but not too bad I suppose. Managed to get a good result compared to what it was looking like at the end of the first lap, so you know, you got to take the rough with the smooth. So last lap now then. Fuel's fine, tyres are fine. I was expecting him to defend it, but he didn't. He wanted the cutback, but he wasn't ready for me to just hold it on the apex, so that was a good move. We'll see if we can drive away from him and try and catch this guy as well. So I spent the whole race trying to get past this guy in front. He's the one we got that 10-second penalty with. With a little tap through the chicane. So the leaders have finished. Third place seems a little bit behind. Still waiting for third place to cross the line. There we go. Alright, so not looking like we're going to get this guy. Unless he's got a penalty actually, but it doesn't look like he has, so no. Probably going to be looking at 11th. Or we have a penalty, so maybe 12th actually by the time it's signed out. We'll see. They're not too bad, but not the best either. So that was my round 3, like I say, and yeah, sorry guys, I don't have a round 4 nations to show you because I just had too many people in the house by the time that race started, so couldn't do it. But there you go. Alright, so let's have a look at the points quickly. 11th. God, I've done so much better. So yeah, there we go, 800 odd, so a bit disappointed. I think I could have got probably maybe twice as many, but there we go, it's racing. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all very soon. Alright, thanks, bye.